Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Janice Lowe. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Mixed emotions from students as they learn whether they qualify for a place in university. The book fair opens without any COVID restrictions, raising hopes for a jump in the number of visitors. And mystery surrounds a U.S. soldier who dashed to North Korea. About 17,000 Form 6 students have scored the minimum required to join a local publicly funded university. But there are only 14,000 slots, and those who fail to get in may have to pay to enter a private university. Macy Mock reports.
Thousands of Form 6 students returned to school today to learn whether they performed well enough in the Diploma of Secondary Education exam to qualify for a place in a local university. Some heaved a sign of relief. Others shed tears of joy. This student said she did better than expected in English, obtaining level 3, which is the minimum requirement for entry to university. Other students couldn't hide their disappointment. Of the 41,000 day school students who sat for the exam this year, 17,000 did well enough to study for a publicly funded local university degree. But there are only 13,000 slots, making the ratio 1.3 students for each place. Students may opt for a private university like Xu Yan, which received over 8,000 applications as of noon. The Vocational Training Council, which offers diploma programs, said around 25,000 people visited its campuses or applied online for self-financed degrees.
I think the fees are quite affordable. They accept NCS students, which I am, and it's also suitable for people who are not satisfied with their DSE results, and it provides a nice pathway.
About 4,000 special needs students also took part in the exam. This candidate with muscular dystrophy obtained 21 points in 6 subjects and is aiming for a marketing degree. Chief Executive John Lee reminded students that their DSE exam results are not the only performance indicator, and they should have a positive attitude. Macy Mock, HKIBC.
There were 4 DSE top scorers this year, compared with 8 last year. 3 plan to study medicine, while the 4th hopes to gain a degree in natural science abroad. Chloe Wong reports.
There were only 4 top scores this year, the lowest since the university entrance exam was introduced in 2012. The high flyers hail from 3 traditional elite schools. They all achieved the top mark of 5-star star in 7 subjects. 3 of them went 1/3, with an additional 5-star star in extended maths. Top scorer Charlie Law from Queen's College is aiming to study medicine at the Chinese university. He said he has a strong sense of belonging to Hong Kong and hopes to work in the city. Eden Zhang is the first student from Good Hope School in 5 years to achieve a perfect score. She has received an offer from university in Scotland, but is undecided whether to pursue a medical degree abroad or locally. St. Paul's Coeducational College produced 2 top scorers. One of them, Icy Koo, is determined to study medicine in Hong Kong.
The medical system in Hong Kong is actually very well developed, and I also want to contribute my own power and to improve it furthermore. So I'm going to stay in Hong Kong and serve our own community.
Her schoolmate Terry Lam, who received an offer from the University of Cambridge, plans to study natural science in Britain.
It is also, let's say, a good idea for some people to go overseas, I guess, to learn from the expertise of people all around the world, so that we actually, Hong Kong, perhaps in the end, can also gain a lot of knowledge.
Koo and Lam said they hope that whatever decision they make will help contribute to a better world. Chloe Wong, HKIPC.
There's been an enthusiastic response for the first book fair since Hong Kong emerged from COVID. Books published by veteran journalist Ellen Au went on sale at one booth. Before the doors opened at 10 a.m., dozens of bookworms were already waiting at the Convention and Exhibition Center in Wan Chai. This man began queuing last night. He said he has been first in line since 2011 and was determined to maintain his record. This year's book fair is the first since all COVID restrictions were scrapped. There seems to be slightly more people compared to last year, and they are willing to spend extra money too, this exhibitor said. I hope our business will rise by 20%. Some book enthusiasts came prepared with suitcases. This teenager was looking for reference books. They allow me to be better prepared for exams, she said. Stalls selling books for children and young adults were bustling. For youngsters, the books have come in handy for their summer holiday. Books published by veteran journalist Ellen Au were on sale at one booth. Some had been removed from public libraries. Au said he hopes his books will be back on library shelves after the authorities complete a review. This mainland woman admitted that the book fair was not on the itinerary of her visit to Hong Kong with her two daughters. We came here just because we saw a lot of people heading to the fair, she explained. The adult entry fee was raised for the first time in 25 years and now costs $30. But visitors can save $20 if they go before noon and pay by octopus. Most northbound cross-boundary traffic through Man Kam To resumed today after 10 days following subsidence at the control point. But trucks still have to detour. The reopening was widely welcomed, with one commuter saying she can reach her office earlier. But not many people were apparently aware that the crossing reopened. This driver said the number of passengers on his cross-boundary coach today was down 70% from before the suspension. Overseas, an American soldier facing disciplinary action has triggered a diplomatic incident by fleeing to North Korea through the heavily militarized border with the South. He was identified as Private Travis King, who dashed to the north while part of a group that was touring the border village of Panmunjom.
Suddenly I noticed a guy dressed in black, running what looked like full gas towards the North Korean side. And my first thought was, what an absolute idiot. I assumed he was sort of getting a mate to film it for some kind of TikTok stunt or something like that. But he just didn't stop and he kept going. And then the US and South Korean soldiers sort of realized what was happening, chased after him, yelled at us to sort of get in the building on the South Korean side. So we all ran in after that. But they didn't catch him. He was we were pretty close to the border, and it would have been pretty hard to stop him from that range. But yeah, he was going pretty fast.
King had earlier been jailed for assault in South Korea and was facing more charges on his return to the United States. North Korea has yet to comment, but the U.S. believes he's being detained by Pyongyang. Washington and Seoul are trying to resolve the issue. Reformist leader Pita Limjaroenrat has suffered a severe blow in his bid to become Prime Minister of Thailand. There were angry scenes outside Parliament in Bangkok after the Constitutional Court suspended him as a lawmaker. He was accused of breaking election rules by owning shares in a now-defunct media company. Pita's Move Forward party won the most votes in elections in May, but his first bid to become Prime Minister failed last week when he could not command a parliamentary majority, as most senators are appointed by the military. A second vote was underway today when Pita was suspended. China's top diplomat Wang Yi says the United States needs the wisdom of former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger when dealing with Beijing. Kissinger, who played a leading role in the normalization of relations between Washington and Beijing, is visiting the capital, but not on behalf of the U.S. government. Wang referred to the 100-year-old Kissinger as an old friend and urged Washington to adopt what he called Nixon-style political courage, referring to former President Richard Nixon. Kissinger earlier met Defense Minister Li Shangfu and said misunderstandings and confrontation should be avoided. Also in Beijing is U.S. climate envoy John Kerry for talks on tackling global warming. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called for a new body to govern artificial intelligence. This comes amid fears that malicious use of the technology could lead to disaster on a massive scale. Chloe Feng reports.
With artificial intelligence, or AI, in the spotlight again, following the launch of the latest version of ChatGPT, the United Nations Security Council has for the first time discussed the global impact of the sophisticated technology.
The malicious use of AI systems for terrorist, criminal, or state purposes could cause horrific levels of death and destruction, widespread trauma, and deep psychological damage on an unimaginable scale. AI-enabled cyber attacks are already targeting critical infrastructure and our own peacekeeping and humanitarian operations, causing great human suffering. I urge the Council to approach this technology with a sense of urgency, a global lens, and a learner's mindset. Because what we have seen is just the beginning.
Guterres urged the Council to exercise leadership and oversight of AI systems and backed a call to create a new UN body to support collective efforts to govern AI technology.
发展中国家平等获取和利用人工智能技术。
Chinese Ambassador Zhang Jun said developing countries should have equal access and utilization of such technology to bridge the divide between North and South. The U.S. Representative Jeffrey De Laurentiis warned that AI should not be used to censor, constrain, repress, or disempower people. Many regions have already rolled out or are preparing regulations on artificial intelligence, with China issuing revised guidelines and the European Union approving a trailblazing AI Act. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
Hong Kong stocks have fallen again on lingering concerns about China's economic outlook and a possible U.S. interest rate hike next week. The Hang Seng Index slid below the 19,000-point level, but turnover rose to $111 billion as mainland investors moved in. Some property shares jumped on expectations that Beijing will support the sector. Longfor gained 2.5%, while Country Garden advanced 2.2%. Machinery maker Lon King surged as much as 18% before closing 7.7% higher, boosted by an estimated 91% annual increase in its interim net profit. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down by 63 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tracker Fund lost 7 cents, HSCI lost 12 cents, while Tencent lost $3.40. Meituan was down $1.40 and AIA was down $1.15. To the foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro is at 8.76, the pound's at 10.08, and the Canadian dollar is at 5.92. Over in the UK market, the FTSE 100 is currently up by 118 points. Locally, police have held a drill in a bid to raise public awareness of the dangers posed by terrorists. Dozens of officers took part in the exercise.
Police conducted a counter-terrorism drill codenamed Purple Flame at the City Hall in Central early this morning when most people in Hong Kong were asleep. Over 200 officers took part in the exercise, which simulated terrorist attacks in European cities. The lobby of City Hall turned into a battle zone, as some people were injured when a terrorist went on the rampage with a gun and a knife. Then it was the turn of the people inside the concert hall, as they were terrorized by a gunman. Officers managed to subdue the attacker. During the hour-long exercise, officers unveiled a new mobile command station that allows for better communication, even outdoors. Police hope the operation will help make the public more aware of the threats posed by terrorists.
On to the weather now. Cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, along with sunny intervals during the day. Temperatures will range between 27 and 31 degrees, hotter in the coming days. That's our main news for Wednesday night. Our late news tonight is at 10:30. Join us then. I'm Jenna Slow. Good evening.